Hello, and welcome to another edition of whatever you want to call this show, the Rapid Reaction. We're going to talk about the playoff games that happen tonight and anything else that comes up. Certainly, we'll want to lead with Ohio State. So, in just a second, and then let me get my banner up so you know who we are. He is Moen. I am Bomber. Welcome to the College Football Mafia Network Rapid Reaction Show. We're still working on the graphics and some of the stuff with these reaction things. But I had a lot on my mind. I know Moen wants to tell us about Ohio State. And then we're both going to talk about the way that this playoff has sorted itself out and maybe some of the things that'll be storylines as we go into the offseason. So this is a good opportunity to have those conversations. So make sure you're following both of us on Twitter. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube. You're watching it now, or if you're on Twitter right now, give us a thumbs up in the comments and jump over to our webpage and possibly give us a subscription. That would really help us out. We certainly love those thumbs up. And last but not least, consider becoming a member of the Mafia family. How do they do that, Moen?
Very simple, Bomber, by going to the YouTube page, entering the chat. There's a little cash icon at the bottom of the chat window. From there, you can become a member. You can gift a membership. You can leave a super chat. If you're feeling generous, help us kick in the new year right.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. Thanks for doing that. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who's watching us live. And let's just talk playoffs. All right. First, we're going to lead with the headline. And this has to be not a shocker, but a lot of people didn't see this coming. I saw it coming. Moen saw it coming. I think you saw it coming. Ohio State was humming, especially after they thumped Tennessee. So give us your first thoughts about this game that just ended, this bowl game that really was done at about 7 minutes in the first quarter.
Yeah, fast start for the Buckeyes. During the week, they better not single coverage. They were double coverage. He's a freshman. He's a true in college football.
Moen, we can't hear you again. I'm sorry. It's like you're pinging out. Try it again.
I'll leave him back.
Okay. All right. Very good. If you guys heard that and I didn't, I apologize. We want to make sure everybody can hear Moen. But I really want to hear his first thoughts about this game that we just watched. Sort of had to sit through. For me, the bowl games, the one that is the best has always been the Rose Bowl. So to see Ohio State come in there and just absolutely thump what was supposed to be the most dominant team in college football this year. And really, that was never a game. I think that's remarkable, right? And that's something we're definitely going to want to hear his firsthand takes on those things. While we're waiting for Moen, I'm going to do shout outs so I don't forget. For everybody that's joining us today, I appreciate it. Nathan Campbell's first in the house. Good to see you. A hi back to you. Jan Hulk, been an OG member of this family for a long time. Good to see you. Hey, y'all. He's all the way in Slovenia. If you don't know where that's at, look it up on a map. Really appreciate. We are an international channel here. So let's see. Illini Ted says, big congrats, Moen. First of all, Ted, great to see you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. And yeah, the congrats for Moen. We definitely want to hear his first person takes on those things. Illini Ted's been an OG member forever, and I do not take him for granted. I really appreciate all his content and everything he does covering the Big Ten, which has been a lot of fun in this last season. Sergeant Pickles, another member of the Mafia family, checking in, saying ASU got screwed, but also did themselves no favors. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think ASU played a magnificent game for what they had. They were certainly outmatched in more than one position, but they were tough where it needed to be. They were tough on the lines, and they gave Scatterboo enough room to create those amazing plays that we saw. The 45-yard throw was remarkable. It was on the button, and the guy undercut it a little bit, but that was the game changer right there. And of course, he had the runs and everything else he did. So Scatterboo was definitely the MVP of that game. They earned the win, but they gave the win away. The penalty we might talk about a little bit later, but the penalty at the end that would have been targeting, that was brutal. I don't know if you guys have been following that on Twitter, but Terry McCauley, the legendary NFL college coach, Did it for 35 years and has been advising TV channels for a long time. He said absolutely it was a penalty. That's something I want to really engage with you guys. And I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to put out the invite tag. You want to join the channel? You've never been here before. You want to be a part of the show? That's what we're here for. Click on that link I just put in the comment section, and I'll bring you on. People just queue up. I'll work through you, and I definitely want to get involved with what you guys are thinking. It was a big deal, all these games. Love to have you guys join me. Do some more shout outs. Antoine Codes. Hey, y'all. Proud of the Devils. The loss stings. Antoine, join the show and tell me how you're feeling. I want to know what an ASU person firsthand is thinking right now. Are you more disappointed with things like the no call and things that maybe you might have got screwed for, or you're more upset with things like a defensive coordinator that can't call cover 2 on a 4th and 13 that really needs to be a touchdown play? That guy never should have been open, let alone be bracketed by defensive backs as he walks into the end zone. That defensive coordinator, I think, that was whacked out. Anyway, love to talk to you, Antoine. If you can't talk, obviously, leave comments. I'll try to get those things as much as I can. Laura Weiss checking in. Good to see you. Texas Tech in the house. Congratulations, Bowen, on the win today, and boo, Texas. I don't think Texas got a bunch of fans after this game. I think Texas might have lost some fans. I'm not sure what Sarkisian's doing that. I'm a Sarkisian fan. I'm not sure what he was doing there, especially after the first quarter started so fast. Sergeant Pickles again. Oregon does Oregon things, and all is right with the world. Yeah, I was cheering against Oregon too. Both me and Pickles are University of Washington fans, and certainly anytime the Oregon Ducks go down, we fill up. Clay Johansson, go blue. Michigan laying the wood to Alabama. Now, that's something else. We'll be talking about this in the offseason. You guys know what our channel is. We talk realignment. We talk about all NCAA and college football news. We do everything wall to wall. So if you've never seen my show before, never seen our channel, for one thing, if you're watching on Twitter, jump over to YouTube and give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We're really looking for those subscriptions to go up, and we would appreciate anybody that does that from X, certainly. But if you're on X and you're watching, leave your comments. I'll get to them. Love to see you. We just have more interaction if you're on YouTube. Michigan laying the wood to Alabama. That'll be fun to talk about in the offseason. I'm going to mark that one right there. Let's see here. Daniel Dilly. Good to see you, Daniel. Another member of the Mafia family. Washington fans want to thank the Buckeyes for a late Christmas present. That is true. Daniel Dilly, hands across America. I love that. Nathan Campbell. Nate, he's got audio problems. Okay, so it's not just me. All right. We'll scroll down here. More comments. Rob Ellen. Good to see you. Clemson in the house. Congratulations, Moen. That win was impressive. Rob, in the comment section or join the show. What are you thinking about where Clemson and SMU ended up? The ACC did not come out smelling like a rose after the CFP and in the bowl game losses. I'd love to talk Clemson. I've always liked Clemson. Love talking about it. Okay, I'm going to post the link to join the show again. If anybody wants to do that, click that link and come on in. Owen, go ahead. Talk for as long as you want. Everybody wants to hear you.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to say that, Jeremiah Smith, he told everybody, in the week leading up to this, if they try and single me, they're not going to cover me. They tried singling him. They tried doubling him. There was even a time they tried tripling him.
Yeah.
In the man-caught passes. He is a true freshman, but I think at this point in the season, it's indisputable that Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver in college football.
How does Ohio State continue to do that? It's like every year now they're putting out one or two receivers in the first or second rounds.
Brian Hartline, and Brian Hartline.
Okay.
And, it's because he keeps putting receivers out in the NFL. And it's not like they're just high draft picks and they're not doing well. They're high draft picks and they're succeeding at a very, very high level.
Right.
Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Juba, Terry McLaurin. Uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, this year Amika Ibuka's come out and he's going to be a stud for somebody.
Right.
You've got Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis waiting in the wings. Those guys are both 5-star receivers. They mentioned it on the broadcast a little bit, but Ohio State really went out and got two pieces for their. They got Caleb Downs in the defense.
Okay.
And Caleb Downs is lights out. He brings that whole defense together. They went and got Judkins in the portal, which obviously helped. You don't have Travion, who's had injury problems. Neither one of them are taking huge beatings. And then they went and signed Jeremiah Smith. And I know people don't want to hear it, but listen, Quinton Judkins and Jeremiah Smith are worth every penny that they got paid.
Right. Well, and I think you could look around the country and see the teams that improved in the portal and with transfers. Ohio State's always at the top of that list. But let's put it in perspective. Ohio State used to be the most. Now Oregon's come in the last 5 years as easily outspending Ohio State. They're trying to buy a championship. What happened with Oregon tonight?
They weren't ready. They
didn't
ready.
Look like I almost thought the teams were in different uniforms. I was expecting this fast start from Oregon. No.
Yeah, they hit a little bit of an iceberg called Ohio State. Ohio State is ready to play. Ohio State is ready to win a national championship. So, yeah, I think this is a StreamYard issue, guys, because it's happening to me and Nate, too. I'm hearing a little bit of Nate cracking up.
Yeah. I can tell you that's probably true, and the StreamYard servers are being maxed because people like us, content creators, are online right now talking college football. So that doesn't surprise me, and that actually makes a ton of sense that it's probably server side is what I was trying to say. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the receivers and the fast start. Is there anything else that stood out to you about Ohio State except to say they continue to just roll win after win?
Domination in all facets of the game.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, special teams. They outplayed Oregon in all facets of the game. The only thing I didn't like about the game, and I was complaining on Twitter, people were following along, the officiating in that game and the officiating in the Peach Bowl, atrocious.
Yes.
Atrocious.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to describe how pissed off I am at the officials.
And it seems to be arbitrary as well. It even wouldn't be that bad if they were bad for both teams. But that's not what's been happening. They seem very targeted. Certainly, Greg Sankey made a call. Greg Sankey made a call with 2 minutes left in the game and told those referees they got to bail out Texas somehow. Texas cannot lose this game. That targeting, I don't have the video. Let me see if I can find the video. It was, like you said, it's atrocious. How do they even get away with stuff like that? Like, are those referees going to get fired or fined or anything?
Probably not. Referees are infallible in college football, it seems, because if you looked up targeting in the dictionary, you would say, see this play.
Yeah.
Literally, the rule book says a defenseless player making contact with their head, neck, or upper body.
Yes.
He did all three.
Let me see if I can. Let me share this right now. By the way, if you're new to the channel or don't know who we are, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Tell us what we're doing. Go over to the YouTube page and follow that up and let us know, what else we could be doing better. But we certainly are very grateful for everybody that's joining us right now. If you're hearing intermittent audio issues, if you weren't here a second ago, we think StreamYard is lagging out. So just be patient with us. We'll work through those things as much as we can. As I'm looking, I've got the video here. I just need to try to make it bigger. This comment from Joe Z. Good to see you, Joe. Ryan Day fighting for his job. Is that still the case?
Not after this. No.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. All right, let's see here. It's not going to let me make it bigger for some reason. All right, well, here we go. This is the targeting call. Let me bring this off. take this down here. So originally targeting started, it was basically to take away the spear tackle, where people were leading with the crowns of their helmets and basically spearing and really hurting other players. It evolved, right? This started about 10 years ago, and it's evolved, and now it's opened up more. There's more qualifications. It's not just the crown of the helmet, and it's not just, it's forcible contact to a defenseless player in the head and neck, right? And Terry McCauley, if you don't know who he is, retired NFL ref. He does on field, not sorry. He does consultant stuff for TV channels and broadcasters. He came out and said this was absolutely targeting. The reason he said it is why. It's because this Texas DB right here, when he hits him, he doesn't take his head out of the tackle. In fact, he actually hits him with the helmet before he hits him with his arms. He said immediately, Terry McCauley said immediately afterward, that was a targeting call. And the only justification has been that he didn't hit him with the crown of the helmet. Well, you're not up to date on the rules, because the rules actually say head and neck area and defenseless player, which this receiver obviously is. So you have any other ideas or comments about that, Moen?
No, the explanation I've heard most often is they didn't call it on the field, so it wouldn't be right for them to go back and look at it and call it. That's why the target review is there. That is literally the reason they have targeting review.
Yeah.
This is a targeting. It's targeting. He's a defensive receiver. He's making forcible contact with the head and neck areas.
Yeah.
That's targeting.
Yeah. I don't know what else you could do. There's been several comments that have just been asinine. This is the biggest one. That's why I have it marked. Doug Gottlieb came out, and this was his answer. Was it targeting? Sure. So he's saying it's targeting. Do you call it in this situation? He says no. What do you think about that, Moen? That's exactly what I said.
Shit.
It's exactly what I said, except I didn't say the word out loud. You're exactly right.
If this is about player safety, that is a target.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. So ASU loses. And first of all, what did you think that game was going to look like after the first quarter?
I was dozing off in the third quarter.
There you go. There you go. What else about that?
I mean, they fell in place perfectly for him. James Scatterbo showed that he absolutely deserved to go to New York. I don't know why he wasn't. He jump-started that team. He carried that team on his shoulders.
Right.
Had everything going their way, multiple touchdowns, two-point conversions. They were going in for the lead when that wasn't called targeting for some reason. I mean, look, I don't take anything.
He catches the ball.
Yeah.
A 15-yard penalty puts him to the 35, and there were 63 seconds left in the game. And Moen's gone again. All I'm saying is, people, I'm going to share this so everybody can see this ridiculous response from Doug Gottlieb. At least I think it's ridiculous. And go on and make your own comments about it. I'm going to put it in the comment section. I want to give credit where credit's due. It was definitely Doug Gottlieb that put out the original tweet. You guys do your reaction there. Tell him what you think about that. In the meantime, I shared the link. If you want to join the show, just click on the link in the comment section and hop on and talk to us for a little bit. It'd be a little fun, I think. Moen's back. Let's just follow this up with a couple comments. Matt Schnuck, good to see you, Matt. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I say that's where you're watching us. Make sure you give us that thumbs up that we're doing a good job. And then consider becoming a member. We do these shows 3 or 4 times a week. And not the reacts necessarily, but our regular shows. And we'd love to have you come around. So Matt Schnuck, it's great to see you. Gottlieb needs to be worried about coaching his 2-13. Where did it go? His 2-13 Green Bay Phoenix team. Did you know he was a basketball coach?
No idea. I don't follow basketball that much, though. So
yeah, he was an ESPN announcer, right? Turned basketball coach, and they're 2-13. So thank you, Matt, for reminding me and catching me up on what those records were for sure. Let me get to some more shout outs. R. Graw joining us here. Good to see you, R. Graw. It's been a minute. Looks like Oregon didn't take over the conference. Penn State might be the only one left that has a chance to beat OSU, but even then, they're probably going to roll any team. Moen, right now, are you concerned at all? Obviously, there's one more game. Georgia plays tomorrow. Are you concerned at all about anybody else in these brackets to beat your team?
Texas is going to be tough. It's at the Cotton Bowl. That is basically a home game for Texas.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how these things work out, but yeah, I mean, that's the game that scares me the most right now is the Texas game. Ohio State has been ready the last 2 weeks. Can't rest on their laurels. They need to be prepared to run that same buzzsaw they've been running.
Yeah, I agree with that. By the way, you got a bunch of people watching this, new people watching this React show. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on YouTube, and then Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, and I know there's a bunch of people doing it, make sure you subscribe. So make sure you follow us. Moen does tweets mostly about our shows and everything else that has to do with the Big Ten college football. Obviously, we cover other things. I'm a Big 12 centric guy. Yes, that's a BYU Cougar on my soft hat I got for Christmas. But we do all of college football. Realignment is really where we made our name. And then we have all this stuff coming up about, the ACC media deal. What's that going to look like for ESPN? Has to be done at the end of the month. On top of that is all the other news items, all the associated rules around NCAA and the judgments and rulings around that. I'm just letting everybody know we cover more than just college football, the games. Friends call me Sean says, good to see you, Sean. Don't call targeting at that point in the game. What? How about holding, pass interference, offsides? What's ironic about that is they just called a pass interference call that helped out Texas get their final touchdown. And that was right before this penalty wasn't called.
Yeah, listen, it's a bad call. Anyone who's defending that call obviously needs to take a look at the rule book.
Yep. I'm going to leave it there because people are obviously wrapped up about it. I'll bring it back if I need to. Kerry Go Knowles, Florida State in the house, looking for better future for Florida State in this offseason, Kerry. We're with you. At least I know I am. Arizona State got jobbed on no call on targeting. That's coming from a Florida State fan. Laura Weiss again. Original members of the Big 12 aren't surprised by the no call, and the call on defense was dumb. Okay. Antoine Codes, Arizona State again. I'm not going to complain about any defensive calls. Ewers put the ball in a great spot. The defenders were in coverage. They didn't make a play. Antoine, you're very level-headed for an ASU fan that I know just had to be gutted losing that game in double overtime. I was with you. Moen was with you.
Yeah, I love the Sun Devils. I love what you guys did. But loading the box and going for a blitz on that fourth down, it was like 4th and 20 at that point.
Yeah, it was 4th and 13. Yeah.
So I mean, why go for a blitz at that point?
I'm telling you, shell cover 2 is where they should have been. Everything in front of them.
I mean,
I have no idea what was going on there.
Is the offensive line.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Clay Johansson again. Michigan beat Alabama, the first and last game of 2024. That's ironic. They did, didn't they? I didn't think about the last one from last year. That's right. I love the singularity there. That's really cool. Good to see you, Clay. I hope you're feeling good about Michigan beating Alabama because the rest of the world was cheering with you. There's an open question just for you right now, Moen. The SEC is not looking good right now. Between all the complaining from Lane Kiffin, all the talk about Alabama, South Carolina, I think, had an argument because they were hot at the end. But the SEC is not looking good going into this offseason, are they?
Listen, guys. And Kirk Herbstreit did not put forth the narrative that South Carolina deserved to be in over Indiana. Right. And Kirk Herbstreit, if Duke beats Ole Miss, didn't put forth the narrative that Ole Miss deserves to be in front of Indiana.
Yeah.
Listen, all these schools that supposedly deserve to be in with 3 losses. Bullshit narrative. Just a bullshit narrative.
I think it's BYU we should be talking about.
Yeah, they play 8 conference games, and they get to schedule a weak FCS opponent the next to last week of the season.
So it's essentially 4 bye weeks is the way they schedule.
Yeah, and Big Ten plays 9 conference games, and we don't schedule any FCS opponents late in the season.
Yep. Something occurred to me just really quick, referring to the ACC media deal. I could see them re-upping at the same rate, but making them play 9 games, making the ACC go to 9 games. I could see them doing something like that to help defray some of the costs that they're putting out, because their conference doesn't have a lot of people watching, the top 6 teams, and that's about it in that conference. So this month's going to be rocking, and I'm so excited about this month because of this ACC stuff. I'm just entranced. Rob Elligan, Clemson. I didn't think the refs could top their Texas bias shown in the Georgia game, but the no targeting call smashed the UGA call. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Listen, they were Big Ten refs, guys, and I'm going to tell you as a Big Ten guy, Big Ten refs are never wrong. They just never are.
And talk about irony.
Yes.
How many shows did you come on here complaining about Big Ten calling targeting? I distinctly remember you doing that 3 or 4 times.
You don't know what a catch is in the Big Ten. You don't know what targeting is in the Big Ten, because it varies.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer if they just flipped the freaking coin over it at this point.
There you go. I like that. That's good. Good to see you, Big Lubbock. Thanks for checking in. ASU should have run Scattaboo at the end. Yeah, they had the game won with the defensive coordinator. There's other stuff you can really nitpick. But man, they caught up to Texas. I mean, in that game was in Atlanta, everybody. It's not like Arizona State has a ton of people local there. I was really impressed with them. Even I will say I even overlooked them a little bit more than they actually showed up. Joaquin Morales, ASU in the house. Hey, Bomber Moan, College Football Mafia family, smash that like button. Great game. Not the way SD Nation wanted it in the end. Go Devils. Thank you so much for being here, Joaquin. Go ahead, Moan.
We'll try and take Texas to the woodshed for you. I'm going to have a little champagne.
I think Ohio State is humming so much. They look so good. Absolutely. They just look amazing. Getting some more shout outs. Penn State still alive in the other bracket, trying to keep the Big Ten at the top of these playoff rankings. And Bob, thank you so much for being a member of the Mafia family. We really, really appreciate you. Happy New Year to everybody, by the way. Good to see everybody. I hope everybody made it through safe. Their families are doing well. I guess let's take a second and pause. That crap that happened in New Orleans. I'm really glad there were people there that had guns that could take them out quick. That crap doesn't happen in Utah, by the way. Open carry state. None of that stuff really goes on here. So anyway, Mo and Ohio State looks like the class of the tournament. That's coming from a Penn Stater.
Got to keep up. Can't get conservative. Can't go back to the way they play that Michigan game.
Agreed. Nick Kelso, Ohio State is playing the best of any team after the Michigan game. Clear favorites to win it all. Thanks, Nick. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter. In fact, let me change the banner really quick. Give me 1 second here. Make sure I've got the right banner so everybody can see. There's the new banner I put up. Those are all the show times currently. We're talking about changing the format a little bit. Some of those times might change. But, yeah, if you're watching us tonight, we really appreciate you being here. Ohio State playing the best of any team. Is there any way Georgia – or who plays tomorrow? Is Georgia and who?
Georgia and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. I tell you what, Notre Dame looked good too. I thought Notre Dame looked good.
They did. They looked good against Indiana.
Yeah.
I want to see how they play against Georgia.
Fair? Yeah, I think that's fair analysis. Neither one of us are necessarily Notre Dame fans, but I think they could do something here. Talked with Four Horsemen Pod the other day. Did a preview for the game, and he felt really good about it. So I'm looking forward to a great game. I think Georgia's now on a backup quarterback permanently. So we'll have to see how that turns out. 1939 national champions. It's a textbook hit. Did you guys play football? I played football. Moen,
I
did you
played
play
football as a kid, but you know what else I did? I learned how to read and comprehend. And in the NCAA rule, it says any forcible contact to the
to the
head
head and
or
neck?
neck of a defenseless receiver.
Yes.
He was the defenseless receiver.
Yeah, I don't know. I could grab somewhere in here is the Terry McCauley tweet. If I get a second, I'll try to pull that in. And so, sorry, we disagree with you, 1939 champions, but thanks for being here. We appreciate that. Who's he referring to, Moen? 1939. Do you know?
Oh boy, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
TCU maybe?
Oh, yeah, could be TCU. Didn't Oklahoma State have one too?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
Sky, Utah Utes in the house. Good to see you, Sky. Love chatting with you on Twitter. So Nathan, love you much. Glad to hear you're in remission. But what are your thoughts on the ASU Texas targeting no call versus the Utah ASU targeting no call on Cam? I don't think you never heard me defend the no call. I think any look, if it's a rule, it's a rule. What I don't like is the subjective use of using it on or off. So I don't disagree with you, Sky. I can't recall that specific hit. I must be honest. But if you're telling me it was the exact same time of hit, then it should have been called. I'm all for that. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know the hit he's talking about, Moen?
I didn't watch that game, so I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm sure I did. I can't place it.
Yeah, the thing I'm talking about, it's inconsistent what is a targeting call from one game to one crew to the next game.
That's right.
To the next crew, to the next conference. There has to be. We need to put something in college football where there is just a national college refereeing association. Where
yes.
Everybody gets the same refs.
Yes.
There's some kind of oversight. Coaches can throw a challenge flag on certain calls. But again, that wouldn't have done any good because they reviewed the play and still said it was not.
Right. The challenge flags for penalties, I think that's never going to happen. To be great and nice feature, but it would slow the games down. I do believe, though, that the National Organization of Referees, look, these referees are part-time, and they're I don't know if everybody knows this, but the Big Ten referees are taught to do something maybe a little different than the ACC referees or the Big 12 referees. There's no one unified body, which is one of our main complaints about realignment and how college football is sort of reformulating everything. If you're going to fix everything, the refereeing needs to be nationalized. That's the simplest way to fix it. That way you'll go to one person and not have to go to 12 different entities to try to get something explained, organized, implemented. Yeah, that's a big complaint we have around here. Sky, it's great to see you, though. Utah Utes, big transfer portal year. We'll have to see if they can get those guys organized in the first year. Everybody knows. I know Utah's going to be back. I know, like, people like to dump on them and stuff. I know what Utah is, and everybody better be prepared for them to come back big next year. Immaculate in the house. Good to see you, Immaculate. Here, dang it, I had a post for you, and now I don't know where it's at. It's great to see you. It was something about the ruling at Dartmouth, but we'll have to talk about that offline. Maybe do something because I wanted to talk to you about more of that in detail. Anyway, that OSU buzzsaw. So you're getting a lot of props for Ohio State.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith. That is one sharp blade.
I thought Howard played fantastic.
He has. He's played lights out.
He did. Yeah, the last two games. And everybody, I saw a joke on Twitter. Somebody said, "Where's this guy been all season?" It's like this quarterback all of a sudden can throw the ball farther than 20 yards down the field, and he's mobile again all of a sudden. It does look weird.
Right. We'll have to wait for the season to play out to do the full postmortem, but I think a lot of this was Ryan Day trying to emulate Michigan trying to win away Michigan last year.
Right.
And I think now he's just taking the handcuffs off of Kelly and just said, look, you got all these boys, go out there and get some points.
I mean, you spend what, 20 million, whatever on NIL, you got to use them. You got to use them.
But to be clear, Oregon spent just as much and they looked awful.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Dan Lanning, I don't think's him. I've been saying that for years. I don't think he's the guy. We'll see. LeBuck, good to see you. Or Illibuk, I guess. Yeah, for Illinois, maybe. Illibuk.
Yeah,
no, Buckeyes. Is that right?
No. It's a trophy game we play with the.
Okay.
Fight. Well, we used to play it with the Fighting Illini. We don't play it every season now, but
okay.
Yeah, Illibuk Trophy. It's a tournament.
Okay, so it's Illini then. I just want to make sure we got it right. That's who it's talking about. ILLI,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. OSU should be the 8th seed in NFL, not CFB. When I first turned it on, obviously it switched over from the Arizona State Texas game, and it popped up and it showed the score. I honestly, for a second, I transposed them and put them in a playoff game against the Rams in my head for some reason. So that was a little funny. Anyway, Immaculate, people will lose their minds if the championship game is all Big Ten. I don't know. We've had that before, haven't we?
Well, it was all SEC a couple times, and that
right.
But that was a very good thing that happened. That great 9-6 barn burner that LSU and Alabama played.
Right. Thanks, Immaculate. Illini Ted checking in again. A member of the tribe. On the Big Ten Mafia show, the crew talked about this being the best shot Oregon had to win it all. They seemed outclassed today. Where do they go from here? Right. I wasn't in that show. You give your opinion, and then I'll give you mine.
They go right back to Uncle Phil's pocketbook and ask for more money. They continue to sign recruits and pull people from the portal, and they have a huge transfer dilemma. But I will say, Illini Ted, I tagged you on Twitter yesterday. Congratulations to the Fighting Illini. If you were watching the Big Ten Mafia show, I gave you guys a good bet to pick. Illini on the money line at 310. 3-1 odds on your money.
Are we now giving
one
odds?
One guy bet that.
Okay.
One guy bet that and is very happy about it. Thank you to the Illini.
Joe Z says these playoff refs always seem to have their palms greased in favor of the SEC. It's one thing if the refs make bad calls against all teams, but every bad call miraculously always go in favor of the SEC. That has been the history. It's true.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, there's just bad this whole season has had some of the worst officiating that I can ever remember.
Yeah.
And it's just extended into the playoffs. And we talked about the bad calls in the Texas game, but that Rose Bowl, I mean, Jesus, Ohio State has not had an opponent call for a holding since September 21st.
That's insane.
How? It's just statistically impossible.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. Look, at the end of the day, we know there's bias. These leagues but when you have, without one entity controlling referees, we're going to continue to see this disparity in calls. The Big 12 has more holding penalties than I think you'll see anywhere, but you go to the Big 10 and that not so much a thing. Targeting in the Big 10 has been horrible for the last couple of years from what I've noticed. The Pac-12 used to call it on literally every pass play downfield. So it needs to be nationalized. They need to fix it. Spend the money. You're getting billions of dollars. You need to spend some money on the infrastructure of the game. Bill G, my fellow BYU fan, he's been, look at that, Moan, 17 months as a member of the College Football Mafia family. Got another sounder for him? Let's give him something big. How about an OOO?
Yeah, we'll do that.
That's a good one. That's a reward. Okay, you look for that. Texas couldn't win a rigged game in regulation. Lol. Happy New Year. Good to see you, Bill. I really appreciate you helping us keep this thing going. You're an OG member, and we really, really appreciate it. Don't ever think we're not thinking of you guys. Timothy Green checking in. West Virginia in the house. Another OG member of the family. There
An
you go.
OOG member.
That's right.
Oh,
That's true. That's
oh,
true.
oh.
Do you have another one? Do we have something for West Virginia fans?
Oh, we'll let them cook.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Let
a good
him
one.
cook.
I love it.
Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Look, Timothy Green, I will say it again in case you missed it. Congratulations to Ohio State. I think they will win it all.
Appreciate it, Timothy. I'm hoping the same thing happens. We won the inaugural 4 team. It'd be great to kick off the 12 team with another Ohio State national championship.
I completely agree with you. Right here, I forgot to say thank you and recognize this because I went past it so fast. Sky, thanks for asking about my health. I'm doing really well. Yeah, the cancer, from what we understand, is at least right now gone. I'm not taking any medicine or anything. They cut that crap out of my neck, and we're doing good. So thank you for asking about me, though. That I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Yeah, being a Utah fan, you don't think a lot of people get along in these the jaded days, but you and I certainly do, and the good people will take the time. Rivalry is one thing; human beings is something completely different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should organize something in downtown Salt Lake where Ute and I get together with people that want to join us for dinner. That would be fun. I'll have to talk to him about that. Stormy Cyclone checking in with a $5 super chat. Before I read it really quick, just so everybody knows, if you want your comment to be read for sure, right now I'm sitting on 150 open comments. We're obviously not going to get to all those. So if you want to guarantee your comment is read, make it a super chat, just like Stormy has. The other thing you can do is you become a new member. And if you become a new member, we always try to give deference to those member comments as well. Stormy, it's great to see you. Iowa State in the house, reloading for next year. $5 super chat. Oh, valuable member of the Mafia family, by the way. Gotta love the Big Ten refs in Atlanta. Robbery and broad daylight.
Yeah, the Big Ten refs are shitty refs. I'm sorry. They are. Targeting and what constitutes a catch anymore, I don't know. Like I said, I'd rather they just flip a coin because I think it'd be more accurate in terms of correctness flipping a coin than leaving it in the official's hands.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to argue against that. Stormy Cyclone, it's great to see you. Thank you for checking in.
Let me give him a sounder. Hold on. Let me give him a sounder.
Yeah,
that man needs some milk.
Okay.
He needs some milk. He needs some milk.
Thank you, Stormy Cyclone. Hope you had a safe trip back. Congratulations again to the Iowa State Cyclones on the big bowl win.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that tonight, but the Big 12, honestly, sorry, my tongue is giving me trouble tonight. The Big 12, it's ironic that Boise State, everybody talked about Boise State and their excellent loss, right? Their excellent loss to Oregon and how that sort of promoted them to be ahead of the Big 12. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. BYU getting left out of the 12 this year, being left out of the playoff, might do them more good than if they'd gone in like Clemson and SMU did and got boat raced. BYU being left out, and they see what that team is actually like nationally. They recognize it. Now they're saying, ooh, we kind of made a mistake. That might be better for the Big 12 than if they'd gotten a second team in. They just went on and got absolutely destroyed. I said that before the playoff started and when the teams were announced. I put my reputation on the line. And I said, the Big 12 is going to do better work with one team in the playoff, in that bye, than getting two teams or multiple teams from the ACC. And Moen, was I wrong?
You weren't. I mean, if it wasn't for that, again, Arizona State would have had to score there.
Yeah, obviously.
You could make that argument. But listen, it would have been hard for them. All the momentum they had, I just find it hard to believe they wouldn't have scored there and won that game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Daniel Gygax, good to see you, Daniel. A contributor and a member of the Mafia family. Good to see you. Bowen, you can say the refs in X conference are crap and be fairly accurate.
This is true, Daniel, but I've seen more of the Big Ten refs. So I have a little more confidence when I say the Big Ten refs are absolute shit.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I'm going to post the link. If you guys want to join us for a few minutes, you can come on. Mo and I here doing rapid reactions to the CFP games. If you want to join the show, give us your comment, chat for a second. I posted the link there. You're all invited. If a bunch of people join, we'll try to get through them the best we can. But we appreciate everybody being here. Kuz's Corner. Good to see you, Justin. Happy New Year. Hope your family's doing well. I saw your tweet where you talked about where 2024 worked out for you. And I'm just speaking for Moen, but I'm speaking for all of Mafia Nation. Your channel and what you're doing with your team, you are doing fantastic. And we're all super impressed. And just anything we can do to help you, keep the little people in your mind, if you don't mind. Coos Corner. Oregon just went 12-0 in the Big Ten. Hard to say Dan is not him after one game. Well, I'm talking about the history, though, Justin. When he lost 2 games in a row to Washington, both times he was favored. When have they had a good win?
Well, they beat Penn State in the Big Ten conference game.
Yeah,
and
but
they beat Ohio
State.
State.
That's not a big win. You got to win something.
Yeah, but Ohio State, they did beat Ohio State earlier this season too.
They won the Big Ten this year.
They did.
That's probably on their mantle of things. That's their greatest thing. But they had a bye. They got loaded. Everybody was ready to play, and then they got out and they absolutely got boat raced and beat up and looked like a very soft team. Immaculate, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Thought I'd get in line to jump in with you guys. I didn't expect to be first.
We got a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Well, congratulations to Ohio State, first off, Mullen.
Thank you.
Team finally looks like the monsters that we feared they would be. That was probably the most perfect half of college football I've ever seen in my life. So I don't really know how you do it better than that, than to go back against the team that beat you early in the season and just completely dominate them. Their upward trend of growth at the end of the season has been considerable, and you might have to thank Michigan. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, listen, I owe Ryan Day a huge apology. If he pulls this off, I will send him a dozen roses.
Now, you told me, to be clear, you said if he didn't win the NC, you wanted him gone.
Yes, but at least he took the SEC monkey off his back. He now has a win against an SEC team. He took the Oregon monkey off his back. He now has a win over Oregon. He was 0-2 prior to that. And now I think that it's time for him to take that national championship monkey off his back too, and bring one of those home to Columbus, and all will be forgiven.
Before you go on, Immaculate, let me get this shout out from Gary Go Knowles. $10 super chat. Thank you, Gary. You know, we appreciate you. Moen, let's give Carrie a sounder.
Ute's not here, but we'll give him a little.
Yes.
They've been sucking you, sucking
I love
you,
this.
sucking you. They've been sucking you, sucking
You're new
you,
to the channel.
sucking you.
This is,
They've been sucking you,
nice
sucking
mix.
you,
The
sucking you.
phones
You're sick of it. I get it. They've been sucking you, sucking you,
not very
sucking you.
happy.
They've been sucking you, sucking you, sucking you. They've been sucking you, sucking you, sucking you. And you're sick of it. I get it.
Carrie Go Knowles, congrats on a huge win, Moen. Your Buckeyes look unbeatable. I can see an all Big Ten final championship gamer, Penn State versus OSU. What's the likelihood that happens?
Well, we're going to have to see how Notre Dame and Georgia play tomorrow, but I think it's pretty good. I think Penn State has got a really tough defense. Have to see what is up with Abdul Carter. I didn't check today and see if I got an update on his injury.
Is that the running back?
No, that's their defensive end / linebacker.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how he's doing, but Penn State's got a legitimate defense. They shut down Ashton Genty for pretty much most of the game yesterday.
I thought Ashton played pretty good.
He played decent, but I mean, compared to the other competition he'd faced, Penn State did a good job of kind of making Boise State one-dimensional.
One-dimensional.
So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
for him, if you keep him below 150 yards, which is amazing, you're going to win the game. That's pretty much what it's like. So, Kerry, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. We really, really appreciate it. And Happy New Year to you, of course. All right. We're not going to talk about that other stuff, the news, the Dartmouth or any of that stuff tonight, Immaculate. But what's this idea about the Big 12? You're a Big 10 guy. You know a lot about these schools because you've talked about them with us for a couple of years now. How does the Big 12 look right now? What is Brett Yormark's talking points tomorrow in the office?
Well, I mean, I think it's almost perfect that it was a game against Texas, right?
Yep. It's apropos. Yeah. Because
Texas left them to go to the SEC. You know, the idea was like, oh, you lost your two best teams. Well, this pretty much says that they're more on par. And if you look at their history in the Big 12, they didn't dominate there.
Right.
And some of the teams that they didn't dominate, well, a bunch of them are still there. So what I think this shows is that while everyone wanted to believe, not everyone, certain persons wanted to believe that the Big 12 wasn't competitive, that's just not the case. Now, there might be times when you have a game that they're going to lose.
Sure.
But Oregon basically looked like they didn't belong on the field with Ohio State for a half of football.
Right.
So that, to me, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I think it's been proven that, yes, we can play. You can play with these schools, so you should be given enough consideration. They honestly should have had at least two teams in this tournament, so that way you could see possibilities. Because now people say, oh, you didn't win a game in the tournament. But it's like,
right.
Off of a bad call, which, bad call. Arizona State probably would have won that game. I do agree. And I think anyone who's standing against that call being called pretty much either just wanted to see Texas win or didn't want to see Arizona State win. That's kind of a strong take on that. But no, I think the Big 12 is in a place to be competitive. It's a brand new conference, and half of your teams are brand new. And I consider a second-year team to be brand new still.
Right, of course, yeah.
So for anyone to know, like, oh, whether it's competitive or not, you just don't know. Like, it's a brand new conference. So I would be excited for it if I was a Big 12 fan.
That's why you have to play the games, right? That's what it comes down to.
If there's one thing being proven.
The SEC doesn't want to play the games. They want them to happen in a black box somewhere and just spit out the winner, right? They don't want to play these teams. And I think we know why. Texas didn't want any part of Arizona State at the end of that game. They wanted to get out of there as quick as they possibly could.
Yeah, they had some things go their way. I mean, that's what happens when you could look at those two teams on the field and say, wow, this Texas team is just a bunch of thoroughbreds. And it was kind of, I don't, people may not like the reference, but David versus Goliath.
Right.
I mean, you could see it. But that
what was the spread? 17, right, Moen? Wasn't it?
No, the spread on the Texas-Arizona State game, I believe, was 12.5.
12.5. I think it started at 13.5,
which is pretty big. That's a huge spread.
Yeah, I told everybody bet against the spread.
Sure. But it just goes to show that that's not everything. And people tend to look at recruiting rankings and they look at all these things and they want to think that they know what's going to happen before it happens.
Absolutely.
And what I've talked about with college football is that every single team is a spectrum. They have a spectrum of their absolute worst game that they could possibly play all the way up to their very best game. Like with Ohio State, we saw at least one half of their absolutely best perfect game, but you rarely ever see that. Sometimes you could have an Oregon team that has a perfect game, but they also have a bottom end of that spectrum. And that's kind of what you saw for much of this game, which, not to go too far into this, but we might need to be questioning these buys. I think every single team
should go away. I said that from the beginning.
Well, for me, every single team that had a bye looked like they were rusty for at least a half.
Yeah, so I have something. Let me bring this up. And since you brought it, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to Jackson Johnson. He's a fantastic viewer, and we appreciate him being around. Great to see you, Jackson. He says, tell your friends, your family, the cashiers at Kroger about the magic that Nathan Brown, Moen, Becky, Sergeant Pickles, and friends bring on College Football Mafia. Ute isn't on there, Jackson, just so you know. But we thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here, and continue to follow us. The off season is really where we expand and we actually bring more content. So we'll talk about that a different night. But I wanted to make sure I got that shout out. All right, there you go. There's the who won and who lost, and who got the bye. Go ahead and run through that, Immaculate.
Which part do you want me to read here now?
All the teams that had byes, which aren't on this list, versus the teams that actually won. And you see from 7 to 13, not one of those teams won a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that have byes, all three of them have lost, right?
Yeah. And, they did. They all lost so far. And they also had very, very slow starts, but came back.
Yes.
But it was not enough. And I think as much as I've even talked about a bye with you guys about future things to happen, I kind of have to look at that right now and say, makes sense, like logically and on paper, but on field, it may not make sense because I think we might have seen here some real strong evidence that those byes and that amount of time leading up to that, which remember, it's not just 1 week, it's multiple weeks.
Like 3 weeks, right?
That it is detrimental.
Yeah.
And it is affecting these games. And going forward, I think we need to scrap the bye.
Go to 16, get rid of all the byes, and the first round games are all in home stadiums.
I mean, I've been pretty strongly against not that I don't like 16, but that I don't think that they would get the unison vote in order to do it.
Right.
This might cause it to happen because it's just so bad that they might all say, well, you can't do it at 12. You can't do no byes. You can't do no byes at 14.
Right.
We're not going to get smaller. So we need to vote in unison to expand this thing to 16. That I've seen a lot of talk about what to do with this tournament, and I've just been like, it's too early. I don't think it's too early to say this. 3 out of 4 with the exact same result of a poor first half, slow start, but them coming back in the second half and not quite having enough time to make it a game. I think you can put a nail in this one. I think the byes are gone.
I think something else about it that we haven't really touched on, it's just new, we didn't know it was going to happen, was the fact that the AAC was relevant until the very end. They had at least 1 or 2 teams that could have possibly gotten into the final number if Boise State had lost, right? So there's actually a bigger pool of teams that could have been possibly included. If you had 16, that gives them just that much more opportunity. Now, generally, those are going to go to the power conferences. But it's not to say it has to be that way. And it opens up that window farther, which is why I think it could go from – they could skip 14 and go right to 16, get unison, and have it done next fall.
Yep. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And this has not been my stance, but when you see something that just clearly changes the values.
Right.
I'm with you. I think that they're going to have to go to 16 with no byes. Otherwise, they're killing teams before they get them. They killed the number 1 team, basically.
Yeah. At reseeding, that's nonsense.
Yeah, I hate
anyways,
reseeding.
Let's not worry
allergic
about
to
that. Jackson, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me on. Happy New Year, gents. And
you bet.
Nathan, my apologies on leaving out Wild. I knew I was forgetting somebody by accident, but
it's okay. I'm like the captain, team captain here, right? So I want to make sure everybody gets their credit. So anyway, it's good to see you. Happy New Year to you too.
Oh man, it was an exciting day of college football today. I mean, it was like, I know like Becky in the chat was talking about at one point with Texas Arizona State was 24-8 with 7 minutes left in the game. And Scatterbo has been amazing this season. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm already looking forward to Big 12 Live on Monday. That's gonna be a fun show. Like, oh man.
Yeah, you know what? And what he's referencing is we have a show on Voice of College Football that's Big 12 centered. I believe it starts at 2 Eastern every Monday. And
1 p.m. Central Time.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. There is no doubt about it. And I still think the Big 12 came out really well, even though I think just from what everybody saw, BYU would have been loaded in this tournament.
Here we go. I mean, BYU looked amazing against Colorado. Like, I'm going to be honest. it would not surprise me if this sets up a lot of momentum. And I feel like not enough people in college football are paying attention to the BYU Cougars.
Well,
But
it's
they
true.
should.
Yeah, no, it is true. But that's what happens when you're in the wilderness. You're independent for 12 years. You're in the WAC and the Mountain West for so long. It takes some time to sort of come out of the covers and everybody say, "Oh yeah, I remember them. Those were the guys that were pass happy that put 70 points on teams before anybody else was doing that." And they remember. So, any thoughts about the Ohio State game?
Oh man, like Oregon got smacked off the face of the earth. I know like a lot of people in the preseason and in the regular season and throughout the playoffs before it officially started, they were saying, "Oh, well, you're the 1 seed, you're automatically going to win it." No, that's not always the case, because you look back at the history of the NBA playoffs, you look back at the NFL. I mean, hell, you look back at 2007 even when the Giants won it all.
Right.
Nobody talks about the Cowboys being the 1 seed.
That's
the
right.
Cowboys were beating the Giants twice in the regular season.
That's true.
I think the Giants wore the red jerseys in one of the games, but and the Giants beat the Cowboys in the divisional playoffs that year. I mean, people talk about the Giants Packers in the NFC title game, but Giants pulled off that upset over the Cowboys in divisional playoffs. So I mean, point being, it really doesn't matter if you're a 1 seed or if you're the 8th seed, the 10th seed, 12th seed. It doesn't make a difference what seed you are. It doesn't matter what seed you are, what ranking you are. It matters what you do with it. And the Ohio State Buckeyes showed that today in all of college football.
Yeah, I completely agree. While you're here, Jackson, why don't you kind of tell everybody what you're doing?
Well, I do a lot of content on Alabama, the voice of college football, and I host a show called The Jacksonian on my personal channel at Jackson Johnson 979. And updates that I have, you can check them out on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter, and you can check them out on Jackson Johnson 543-908 and on Threads as well.
That's a lot of stuff to remember. If you want to put those into the comment section so people can see them, I have no problem with that, okay?
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for coming on. It's an honor hanging out with you guys. I'm just going to
always looking for more people to be here.
Oh, there we go. It's always fun. Like, it's first time I've ever been on here, to tell you the truth, and it's pretty fun.
Well, good.
Hey,
if we had more time, we could chat, right?
Hey, Bomber.
Yeah.
Can I ask him a quick question? I got to ask you guys. It's a Big 12 question. Are you guys a little worried about what's about to be announced when they get back to Tempe here in a little bit?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Earlier, they announced that Dillingham has a new contract. They've figured out a new
5-year contract, yeah.
But they have not announced numbers.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if maybe some of the numbers were going to be based upon what happens in this game.
Oh.
And after this game, I think there's probably going to be some donors and some boosters and people who'd be willing to throw in more money.
Right.
And they were talking about it was just going to be in the top tier of the conference. Are you worried at all now that this might actually set a new cap in the conference for coach pay?
That's a good question. Do you have an opinion, Jackson?
Well, I hope the Big 12 will be all right, which, I mean, it looks like it will be, because I'm not hearing anything about, like, everybody wanting to leave there. Although, like, the off season, and I think for now, realignments talks kind of shut down
a little bit. Yep.
Thank God. But I feel like there'll be another Hollywood reboot in the 2030s.
Oh, you bet. Not too long. Don't be surprised.
Ugh. Like, I'm just like,
yeah.
Do not take our rivalries, and if you're gonna have more expansion, please have Pitt in the Big Ten, where we can have Penn State, Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving.
There you go, Moen. Somebody's voting for Pitt to the Big Ten.
Never gonna happen.
Either Pitt in the Big 12 or the Big 10. It doesn't make a difference to me, but Pittsburgh has to play Penn State and West Virginia every year.
There you go. That's a great thing to finish on. All right, Jackson, thanks so much for being here. We'll talk soon, okay? Hit me up on Twitter, okay?
That's the plan, man. Y'all stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out. Can't wait to talk to BYU football and Big 12 football.
We'll see you later. Thank you, Jackson.
Oh, you're welcome.
Happy New Year.
So, Immaculate, to answer your question from my standpoint, the concern on the salary cap for the coaches, BYU is going to take care of Kalani Sitake.
You guys can be with anyone, right? You can roll.
If we just paid $5 million for a basketball coach.
Right.
And $5 million for a college basketball coach is like crazy money. Like there's only 8 or 9 coaches that have anything like that. So they're ready to invest. They just want to see something on the field. And this year they did that. So wouldn't surprise me. I think Kalani just renegotiated last year, but Jay Hill will get a raise. And but if I'm Utah State just put out a news notice saying that the university itself is cutting 25% of their budget. They're killing a bunch of programs. And it's hard for me not to say they might not take money from athletics, but it certainly has to have some impact, right? And right now, Kyle Whittingham's making $6 million, I think, highest paid guy in the state of Utah. And Mike Gundy just gave money back at Oklahoma State.
That's the future too. Like if
I think so.
Instead of paying a lot of money to get rid of someone, they're going to have things in their contracts about making them pay back some of it.
I completely agree with you. Yeah. Moen, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you got to remember Mike Norvell just went through a similar situation. Although
he was the first one.
His money is a quote unquote donation for fundraising.
That's the PR cover.
Yes, that's
has
the
to
PR
be.
cover.
Has to be.
But, basically, you had all these guys getting massive extensions last year because of Jimmy Sexton, their agent. Kalen DeBoer took the Alabama job. That resulted in Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, and Mike Norvell, all getting these huge extensions.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid they were going to sign with Alabama. And, Mike Norvell's the first one to pay it back. I don't think he's going to be the last.
Well, we spoke about this during realignment quite a bit. The idea that money, the big money, the billions and billions and billions in media contracts for these conferences, these great pools of funds that they provide to the universities each year, we might see some retraction on those. They're making more money, but the cost of doing business is going up. So I think we're going to see more money going to the players and the apparatus of football and less going to the head coaches unless you're in the top 10.
As long as recruiting is still a part of college football, I think that they actually deserve the money they get because the amount of work and effort and leadership that goes into that is just tremendous.
Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to devalue it either.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to drop as much as like if maybe if you were to compare NFL players to coaches. But I think what you're going to see is exactly what these guys are doing, but it's going to be codified. Like,
right.
You're going to have certain results, spectrums, and where you line up in that is where your pay is going to be.
Right, and less in the primary pay and more in escalators by achieving.
Winning the primary pay is going to go down.
That I agree. I think that I'm with you. You and I are on the same page. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to have to because some of these guys getting these paydays and then all of a sudden just sucking and there's nothing they can do other than pay them to go away. That's going to end.
Those days are gone.
That's going to
pay to go away. That's
they can't afford to do it anymore. Yeah.
No, and that's why the terms are going to get shorter. So they have more flexibility, and I think the contracts are going to have outs for the university.
Yeah.
So, great topic, though. Really good topic. Total Archer TX, good to have you, Total Archer. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and get involved. This is when we blossom. The off season is where the College Football Mafia Network just goes through the roof. So you're here, early adopter. Appreciate it. I thought that Moen guy had an all-white face mask. Moen, they're making fun of you. They think you got a plastic face.
Most people don't know this. In my professional life, I'm a mime, and in order to save money on makeup, I don't go out in the sun. So, I'm
business decision.
He has health stuff.
I'm just your typical pale Northman. This is what, if you're talking about Rust Belt, Midwest, cold all the time, cold 6 months out of the year. We don't go outside. We just stay inside and drink.
All right. Tell me, and I thought it added it here. Where does where does BYU end up on the final poll?
Well, assuming Mississippi loses,
Well, I don't care if Mississippi loses or wins.
BYU
Look at
will
that
end up.
list.
I think they probably end up 12.
I think higher. What do you think, Immaculate?
I mean, there's what I thought. What I already had them at 12.
That's
And
true.
then
You did. Yours was
what
different.
I think
yeah.
that they're going to do. I wish I could sit there and say that they'll jump 5 spots, but I don't have very much faith because this is just going to be an AP poll, right?
Yeah,
CFP
I don't
doesn't
know
put
if
out
this
a
is
final.
this is just it says poll, so I don't know if that's
Right.
the coach or the AP.
I think that's their scenes, but I don't trust the AP pollsters enough to put them up past 15, which is a joke. But
Yeah, I think they should. I think they should be in the top 10.
yeah, I
I'm biased.
got no problem with that.
Yeah,
It was a big win against the top 25 team. And you could look at some of the teams that lost up above them and just not impressive. So,
yeah,
I mean, when you get a South Carolina losing, when you get also, number one, I don't necessarily change my rankings off of bowl games because what teams are playing for real and which ones are preparing for next year. But
right. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think the performance bonus that you would get, you talk about the 5 spots jumping or this, that, or the other. Moen mentioned 12. If they could get to 12, that would make a point. I think that would be great. If they made it in the top 10, I think they could get some retroactive positive spin because of now you can see where the results are. Maybe they made a mistake where they left them because they weren't even talking about them at the end, and they should have been ahead of Ole Miss. They should have been ahead of Alabama. They should. I don't know. South Carolina has an argument with me still, but anyway.
Well, BYU beat SMU. SMU wasn't all that, competitive with Penn State. Can you argue that BYU would have been more competitive with Penn State? I think BYU is more.
Yes, I could make that argument. Yeah.
They're more physical of a team than SMU is. SMU is more of like a speedy team, and I just don't think that lined up against Penn State very well at all. Where I think BYU would have lined up better.
I'm with you, and I think a lot of people that watched the Colorado game saw they were ready to play, and it's a warning to the rest of the Big 12 and all of college football now. If you like BYU, don't like them, fine, whatever. I appreciate you being here and watching me. I'm a BYU guy, but I'm telling you, we're back. I thought it was going to take 4 or 5 years. Kalani Sitake did it in 2. And we're not going away. We're spending money in NIL. Just get used to the initials. That's all I'm saying. Skaven, yes, checking in. Good to see you, Skaven. Happy New Year. Hello, gentlemen. Go Big Red. And the Bucks looked good today, Moen.
I'd say they looked a little better than good. I'd say they looked sharp.
I like that.
Very sharp.
I like that. David, exclamation point. Good to have you here, David. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter so you know who we are and we can stay in contact. 16 teams would require a renegotiation with ESPN. The deal is either 12 or 14 team playoffs. That's true. The easy fix is 14 teams. However, there is in the contract the availability to renegotiate just the 1 year if everybody's unanimous on the voting. And that's the hard part that Immaculate was mentioning earlier. Can you get 12? What is it? It's 12 voting members, 11 voting members now with the Pac-12 down, unanimously to decide to go to 16. Likelihood probably is low. 14, though, they could do turnkey. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I think you could get the vote. At this point in time, I think maybe you could get the vote for 16. They're just going to have to make some promises to some of those votes and that they'll be available.
Right.
Those new spots will be available, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I think the evidence of that bye being bad, because it's like 3 to 4 weeks off, and the teams that played in the first week, most of them were rusty. That first round game was rusty. Everyone was rusty.
But once they got going, though.
Right, they got the rust off, so they're ready to go the next week right at the first start of the game. But the other teams, it's a detriment. So I think the bye has to go. it's got to go. So you got to go to 16 at this point. So that would be my pick. I think you're going to get it. So you're going to have more G5 teams in this thing.
I just love having more. I just love more. I want more. Let's go to 24. Grateful Trojan, good to see you. How's USC doing? Did they win or lose their bowl game? I'm not sure.
They won.
They won.
USC has wins over 2 SEC teams this year,
Nice.
and both of them occurred in Las Vegas. We were joking about it on the Big Ten Mafia show.
Oh, the LSU, right?
If USC would just relocate to Las Vegas like the Raiders, the Oakland A's have, they might be undefeated.
Hell, yeah, maybe. It's true. His comment is no auto bids, straight rankings 1 to 16. I would love that. I just would. It makes the most sense. I don't know why they didn't go there in the first place. Shonsky checking in, another member of the College Football Mafia family. Moen, how do people become members of the College Football Mafia family?
To become a member of the College Football Mafia family, you go down to the little chat window where you type in your comments, click the $sign. From there, you can become a member, gift a membership, or leave a super chat or super sticker.
Thank you so much for doing that, Moen. We appreciate everybody that is a member, all the OG members that are here. I'll show you on Shonsky's comment. Good to see you, Shonsky. Happy New Year. There's this little icon next to his name that looks like an S. That shows you who is a member of the College Football Mafia Network family, and we appreciate those people. And we're going to be doing more. I thought about this, Moen. I'm going to have to do a show by myself just to lay out what we're going to be doing in the next 6 months. Give everybody an idea of how we're setting stuff up with programming and then all the special videos we make so people understand where they can find all our content. I'm not going to do it now, but I think I'm going to do a onesie with that. It's not a bye week. Everyone got that. It's the bye month. I don't like. That's very, very funny. Michael Smith, good to see you, Michael. It's been a minute. I'm glad you're back. 16 is just an excuse to get every SEC team in that beats at least 4 SEC teams and every big team that beats 5 big teams. Big Ten. Moen?
I'm fine with it as long as they play in a conference and they're eligible for a conference championship game, Michael.
Hint, hint, Notre Dame. Yeah.
Some things never change.
Yeah, no, and never will, actually. Let's see here. Let me get to some more comments. Illabuck, 100% go Knowles. I love when you guys are – we have the smartest viewers, by the way. That has not changed. Chris, good to see you, Chris. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on YouTube and Twitter, please. Do you think Barry McCockner and Mike the Taurus will start for Notre Dame? Moen?
I love you, Bomber.
You did a very good job of navigating that.
I absolutely love you, brother.
Come on, Moen. You got to follow through. It doesn't work.
You fell on that one. You were so close. I was like, well done, man.
Oh, gosh. Let's see here. Let me get some more comments since I'm being teased. Timothy Green, I would like to congratulate the West Virginia Mountaineers for going to Kansas. Oh, yeah, this happened yesterday. Beating those Jayhawks in basketball yesterday, and we beat them at home last year. Yeah, for the first time since 1991, the Kansas Jayhawks lost their first home game, and they lost it by 1 point to West Virginia. The Big 12 is just a murderer's row of teams.
Wait till they add UConn.
Yeah, that's the conversation coming. Immaculate, do you see UConn rising?
It's a very interesting thing, but once again, I'll go back to the comment I made earlier about how I don't change my rankings based off of bowl games. I think UConn wanted to win that game about 1,000 times more than North Carolina did, and I think it showed. But you went the end of the season, what, 9-4?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Or did they get to 10-3? Yeah, I'm not sure.
They still got 8 wins in a season playing as an independent.
Right.
You got to look at them and say they are building a program. So I would say that their, shall we say, realignment draft ranking is.
I like that. That's good.
It is rising. How much? That's for you guys to break down in all of your breakdowns. But I would definitely say that their value is rising.
I'll tell you this, Wild Ute thinks it's huge. The upside is massive because of the markets and everything else that comes with them, the ESPN. He thinks it's maybe not a foregone conclusion like we thought a couple years ago, maybe, but something closer to I could easily see that happening, and I wouldn't complain if it did.
Yeah.
So, me versus Echo Chamber. Good to see you, me versus Echo Chamber. Happy New Year. Rob Devils, come on now. Let's hang out. Heads on that. What's he talking about?
I think he said robbing the Devils.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's not hang
there's
there
Zona.
on that.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, they were robbed, yes. There's nothing we can do about it. So we talked about it earlier in the show, but yeah, we all believe that Arizona was robbed. There's no doubt about it. So many great comments. I'm gonna have to put a time on this. So we can go another 10 minutes. Told my wife I wouldn't be doing this all night. The Sugar Bowl wasn't on tonight. If you didn't know, for some reason, you were in a car or whatnot. Sugar Bowl is delayed from tonight. It'll be on tomorrow night or tomorrow during the afternoon, I believe. And yeah, because they bumped the Ole Miss game. That'll be Thursday, and we will have that last game. See if Notre Dame can sort of take that next step that they've been trying to since 1988. So we look forward to that. One last time, then make sure you follow us all on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't given us the thumbs up and you haven't subscribed if you're new, I'm disappointed. That's all I can say. I'm disappointed. Oh, look at this. Moen, what are you doing to me?
Happy New Year to everybody in the College Football Mafia family. We have gifted 5 memberships to the College Football Mafia. That gives you access to our video library, as well as exclusive streams and other fun content, including special emotes in chat. And that went to the rare from Larry the GM and B. Colvegas 1. Congratulations and welcome to the family, guys.
Can you read those again? You were pinging out there at the very end.
Sorry about that. Runner-up, Mosquito, Larry the GM, and B. Colvegas 1.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. If you received a gift membership, first of all, thank whoever gave it to you. In this case, it was Moen. And then consider paying it forward, giving a membership to somebody else. That's how we keep growing this thing. You guys give memberships to other people, and not only is it kind in this time of giving, but it really it pays it forward. I believe in karma, like in my real life, IRL. I believe in karma, and when you do things like this, pay it forward, give somebody else a membership, you will be rewarded for it. That's a promise I make to anybody I say that to. Moen, thank you for doing that. That was a great idea. Let's get to a few more comments here. I didn't finish my statement. If you want to have your comment read at this point, and I haven't already flagged it, in fact, there's a bunch I'm not going to get to that I did flag, make it a super chat, and then I guarantee I'll read it before we leave, and I'll stay as long as I need to read super chats. Lee, good to see you. Happy New Year. No, Penn State does not want to play Pitt. Pitt brings nothing to the table for Penn State. I got to say, I bagged on Pitt all offseason because the ACC stuff with the Big 12 and all these things, and they looked down on the Big 12. And there was some anger there that wasn't anger, but it was like disappointment that couldn't be a marriage made in heaven, Pitt coming to the Big 12. But then they came out and won what? They were 6 or 7-0, right? And I was starting to turn around. I was starting to say maybe Pitt is invested in football. They're spending money to do these things. And then what happened at the end of the year? Can either of you guys explain to me why Pitt fell off as much as they did?
Yes.
Tell me.
Playing defense early in the season is easier than playing offense. Offense requires a lot more timing, a lot more coming together and working together.
Right.
So I think offensive side of the ball comes along later. So they're a very strong defensive team with not very good offense. And so offenses got to a point where they could beat that defense later in the season, and that's when they dropped off.
Okay.
So I just think that they had a good first part of the season because they had a very strong defense.
Okay. Well, hopefully they grow off that next year. They're good, right?
Yeah.
I'm always cheering for teams to be good. They
got to work on getting some offensive weapons on that team, and then they got a pretty good team.
Look forward to that next season. The alternate hypothesis. Love your name. Love that name. That name is fantastic. That goes in my Hall of Fame. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Maybe give us a thumbs up. The Big 12 really needed that performance. I will echo that 1,000%. It's totally true. I think the Big 12 came out as good as you could have hoped, except for ASU losing. That would have been the cherry on top. But the Big 12 could not have done better in this offseason. And I think they've got a lot of national people pulling for them now. You guys want to say anything about the Big 12?
I think you're right. Well, I mean, you're going to see some national people that will try to find a way to poo on it because that's their job, I guess. But I don't know. I think that this went really well for them, and I don't know if people are going to think this is anti-ACC, but they're going to get compared to the ACC, right? Just like how the Big and the SEC get compared, the Big and 12 and the ACC get compared. And when you compare the two, the ACC didn't really have a strong performance. Like they didn't win ASU, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, I almost dare say that it might be better that they lost in this regard than if they had won this game and then went on to play Ohio State and to just get obliterated. Just perception-wise, I think most ASU people would want that extra game. They'd want the chance with good reason. But this might have actually been the perfect ending for how to build off of this as a conference and as a program.
So let's flip it around. How does the ACC look right now?
I mean, SMU looks promising for the future, right? Like they probably didn't expect to have them in that type of a position.
Right.
Clemson looked better than I thought they would, but still like a couple steps behind, but they're keeping their quarterback. So I think they're going to be pretty good next year. And they seem to have started using the portal. So I would say it looks a little behind the Big 12, just an overall competition across the board.
Right.
But they might have a couple of teams that are better. I don't know. We need to see some more ACC versus Big 12 competition. And we didn't get that in this tournament. So like I would have loved to have seen like a Miami versus ASU or something, you know, but we got BYU versus SMU and BYU won handily. So that's where it stands.
Listen, I think you guys got to go back over the past 2 years, and look at who got added to what conference. Big 12 added BYU, Colorado, Utah, Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
ACC got SMU, Stanford, and Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Who won that?
No, I mean, yeah, that's pretty.
I think it's obvious that the Big 12 did. There's not even a question about that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
You won the addition. I could turn around if I wanted to play the ACC role and say, yeah, but we have Florida State, Clemson, and Miami.
Right. The second you do, they want out.
I know. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just saying we don't need to get into that now. We've done that a million times.
Yeah.
But the point is, each conference has stuff to grow off of.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was picking a stock, I would pick the Big 12 as a growing stock.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Yeah. We'll get to a couple more comments here, and then we're going to bust out. Unless, of course, we get super chats. We'll stick around for those. Line Ted, if they choose teams ranked 1 through 16, the SEC will drop to 5 conference games and schedule 7 out of conference so they can have 8 nearly undefeated teams. Moen?
Yeah, but those 5 conference games, guys, those will be the toughest conference games in the history of football as a sport.
They count for 2 each.
Yes,
one of them.
They would count for 2 each.
So it's really 10.
Okay. Clay Johansson, when Narduzzi has a QB, we're talking about Pitt again. Pitt is okay when they don't. Let me start over. When Narduzzi has a QB, Pitt is okay. When they don't, they suck. I remember Pitt before Narduzzi. They wasn't that good. I'm not saying Narduzzi is great either. Good defensive coordinator. Yeah. Moen, you have comments about the Pitt coach, don't you?
Yeah, I thought Pitt was overrated all season. West Virginia really Munson that game. They were up 15 at one point in the fourth quarter. Absolutely let it slide away. I think if you look at the rankings throughout the season, they got Pitt right. Even when Pitt was undefeated, I don't think they had them ranked in the top 15.
They were 6-0, and they weren't even in the top 25. Yeah,
absolutely. And now they've lost, I believe, 7 or 8 in a row with the bowl game.
Yeah.
And they lost to Toledo, and I for the life of me, I can't figure out why Jason Candle did not get a head coaching job this year. But that was a down year for him in Toledo, and they lost to that team in 6 overtimes. So,
Yeah,
if you're an ACC team, you can't be losing to a MAC team.
that's where the ACC needs to grow, honestly.
Yes.
FF18 Buffs, good to see you, Fergie. We got to get together. We got to talk Colorado BYU one more time. Put a bow on that thing. If you would have been here earlier, you could have joined the show. We're getting ready to shut down. Buffs fans almost had a perfect day rooting for ASU. So close. And the Buckeyes crushing Oregon, which makes us very happy. Bye-bye, Dan. You're getting more cheers from ex-Pac-12 people clowning on Oregon. I just...
The best part about this night is Ohio State are the good guys for once. We're the good
know,
guys
it's
this
true.
game. We're going to play Texas next, and we're going to be
And
the
gonna
good
be
guys.
the rooting favorite.
And then
Absolutely.
we'll probably play Notre Dame and be the good guys again.
That is so messed up, man. You guys
It's true, though.
You guys are the Empire. You're like Darth Sidious. Like, you guys are the baddest of the bad. But we're in the Big Ten. We already know that. Like, it's just not a big deal. Like, we already know. People are like, oh, you never beat Ohio State, and we're just like, duh. Like, it's the look. So, but yes, because for storyline reasons, somehow you guys get to be the good guy, and
We're the good guys now.
It's
We're
ironic.
everyone's cheering on Darth Vader.
We
Go Darth.
never would have been thinking that at the beginning of the season. I'll tell you that. Oregon did not get any random support either. I didn't hear see a lot on Twitter where people are like, "Man, I'm not an Oregon fan, but I want Oregon to beat Ohio State." I don't think I saw one tweet that said anything like that. It was all, let's everybody beat Oregon. I think the reason is because the Oregon connection with Nike and Phil Knight, and they realized that Oregon before Phil Knight was a middling Pac-10 school, just so everybody knows. If they made it to the Holiday Bowl, it was a great year. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think people hate perfect.
Oh, I didn't cheer against the record.
I mean,
I just don't like Oregon. I can say that
like
out loud.
chaos. They wanted to see the top team go down.
It's possible. Anything is possible. Great to see you, Bomber. Back at it. Happy New Year, Fergie. Oh, go ahead, Moen. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I think part of it is the Oregon Ducks fan base. And I'm not saying it's all of them. I've met some good Oregon Ducks fans. But this fan base is, you can say what you want about the Ohio State fan base, but at least it's based on having national championships. Oregon hasn't won anything.
No, they haven't.
And they walk around like they, that they're won 8 or 9 national championships.
Yeah, but they're spending daddy's money, Moen.
I know, but I think that united the Big Ten. I think
they're
people in
not
the Big
going
Ten,
everywhere. Being obnoxious did not endear them.
the Big Ten likes old money, not new money.
Yeah, I agree with that. A couple more comments. We're going to get out of here. Timothy Green, Bomber and Moen, thank you all very much for all you do for fans like us. Appreciate it. Thank you, Timothy. We appreciate you, Timothy, your loyalty and continuing to be a OG member of the Mafia family. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll follow that up with one other comment from him that I just lost. Absolutely fabulous show, just like always. We will be catching you the next time. Moen, when's next time?
This Friday, 7 p.m. Big Freaking Friday show.
Yep, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, we'll be breaking down the games that happen today and the games that happen tomorrow, and it should be a good time. So tune in.
That's the way it works. Absolutely fabulous. Already did that. And I didn't finish. Let's see. Catching you next time. Please check back in the always. Have great content and guests. Thank you, Timothy. You are our number one fan. I guarantee you. And we don't take you for granted. All right, Immaculate, you want to say anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think we're pretty good, man. Looking forward to this next round. That Ohio State versus Texas game is going to be a lot of fun to watch, just in terms of being a clash. But hey, we might see an Ohio State versus Penn State championship game, so watch out for that.
That would break the bank.
That
would break the bank. I still have questions about Penn State. So
yeah,
Moen.
Come to think of it, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, teams from that Rust Belt Midwest are down here too, folks. It's not just a Southern thing. Football's important in the Midwest. especially in that area of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana. And it's showing. So,
All right. Very good. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight for this last show here as we kick off 2020. Oh, he just left. Sorry, Clay. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for being here, everybody. Make sure you follow us all on Twitter. Subscribe. Most of you people are watching on YouTube. Please subscribe. We're trying to get what the subscriber numbers are. We're building up to, 5,000 is our next mark, right, Moen?
yes, sir.
And help us out. So if you're new to the channel, I'm seeing a lot of numbers, new people. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment or question, and then feel free to engage with us directly on Twitter. We love getting into conversations, even if you disagree with us, which I do. Most people, I disagree. We love the engagement, and Immaculate certainly does that. If you want to follow all of college football, sort of the business side, maybe some of the why college does what they do, follow Immaculate on Twitter at Immaculate View. And we're missing Wild Ute tonight and the rest of the team. So we say Happy New Year to them. Happy New Year to all of you. Have a great New Year, and we will see you Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I think that's it. So we'll see you later. Everybody stay safe. Bye. Peace.